Well, hello, everyone. I want to introduce our special guest today, but let us introduce ourselves first. This is Robert and Sharon Porter from Trucking and Business. Welcoming our special guest, Glenn P. Brooks Jr. He is our coach and a relationship specialist. And I welcome him here with us this day. Good morning, Coach.
Well, great day, guys. How's everybody doing? Super excited to be here with y'all. Appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, good. I'm so excited based on what you're going to be talking about as far as relationships, because I realize in the business that we in, everything is built and established on relationships, and even to the point for when we in the truck as a team, we still got to work together in order to get that product delivered. It requires relationship with our dispatchers, relationship with each other, relationships with drivers, it works all the way around the board. And I think that for so long that we have been taking that for granted. So, Coach, I'm going to turn this over to you, and I'm just going to let you go ahead and flow with how you want to do this. So I'm going to sit back and I'm just going to let you take charge.
Well, first of all, I appreciate y'all for having me, Sharon. Great to see you. Yeah, to concur and to your point, Robert, I think that when you guys, particularly in the business that you guys are in terms of the whole trucking piece and the industry, there's so many levels and components of which relationship becomes sort of the make or break of what it is that y'all do. Y'all can't move without having great connection. And I know you guys are talking about how to get along in the cab or how to get along in the truck. And I think that all starts with knowing who you are. As a relationship development specialist, I am huge on this idea of understanding your temperament, your behavioral style. I'm also a certified DISC trainer. So as a result of that, I get a chance to do this stuff professionally. But one of the things that we realize is that everybody has a different temperament. Everybody has a different behavioral style and a different makeup. When you can understand what yours is and sort of why you show up the way you do, I think it makes it really, really a lot easier to navigate other people. And so I just want to say that, I love the topic, and I just think that that's so important for you to do the work that it takes for you to get to know yourself from a behavioral standpoint. Everybody moves different. Everyone loves to be communicated differently. And I think that to the degree that you understand who you are and how you move in terms of your temperament. Let me just give you a quick example. So when you look at the DISC, it's an acronym: the D, the I, the S, the C. They all are 4 different temperaments that we all as human beings share. And I remember when I got married the first time, right? I was married for 12 years prior to my current wife of almost 23 years now. And I remember not knowing how to get along with this woman, but loving her at the same time. And it's a really weird dynamic. Like, you love this person. You would, you take a bullet for this person. Like, quite frankly, no one's going to say anything bad, at least not to your face, about this person. But y'all can't get along. You can't talk. You can't communicate. You can't connect. You can't vibe. And I realized it had everything to do with me not understanding who she was and how sort of God made her up. And so as I began, it was after our relationship that this epiphany came. I need to work on me. Something's wrong with how I connect to people. And I just lost a whole marriage, a whole family over my inability to communicate effectively. And I think that this begs for me to go on a mission and study and figure out why that is. And that sort of brought me around to sort of just, not only personality assessments and understanding that, but just this idea that everybody is different. And this is not about me convincing you to communicate the way I do. It's me learning you. So when we say the D, we're talking about the decisive part of your temperament. The I is the interactive, or the part of your temperament that engages people socially. The S is the supportive part of your temperament. That's the part that's concerned about your environment, both mentally and physically. And then the C, of course, is your cautious portion of your temperament. It's how you show up as it relates to rules, policies, procedures, and protocols and standards and different things like that. So we call the D a lion, the I a flamingo, the S is a chameleon, and the C is a turtle. And the idea is that each one of these animals sort of have characteristics that you can understand and pick apart. And when I began to understand like who I was temperamentally, everything changed. And what's really funny is that my second wife temperamentally is the same person as my first wife. And that'll trip you right out. Like they are the same temperament. They behave, they move, they think, they process very, very, very similarly. The question begs, well, how could you not? Why is it that you couldn't make it work for the 12 years you were together with your first wife, but you're able to make it work these 23 years come January 2022, you're able to make it work in the second relationship? It's because I changed. It's because I found out a truth and I started walking in it and applying it. And it's just so sweet. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Well, I find that to be awesome. As you talking about this, Coach, I think about, the relationships that I personally deal with on a regular basis. I know I've been married for 28 years. Next year, it'd be 29. We pushing 30 hard. And I realized that in taking your disassessment test, because we took it, found out how much in common me and my wife are. Basically, we are really the same. And I really think that you not knowing that is a strong part to your failure if you're not knowing what your temperament is. And see, because we have developed and understand what our temperament is, we're able to understand how each other move and certain things that she do. And it just makes life a lot easier, because I can always go back to my disassessment and think about, I say, oh, okay, so she's flowing like this. I understand. So now, okay, I have to reevaluate myself, because that's a key point. Reevaluating yourself in order for you to make this thing work. So go ahead, Coach. Don't let me stop you from flowing.
No. I want to have an engaged, a conversation. I know, Sharon, for you, when we talk about the idea of, you guys being temperamentally, y'all are very similar. Mm-hmm. And normally in relationships, it's opposites that attract, right? So a lot of times you'll get together with a person, y'all don't really, kind of show up the same way, but that's attractive to some degree and that sort of stuff. Here's one of the things that I do know about y'all two. Although you are similar in your temperaments, where you do offset, you're very different. And then the other part of it is that you're still different people. How does that work for you? I mean, when we talk about your temperament, how has that empowered you to be able to show up differently? And again, we're talking about getting along in the cab, getting along in the truck.
Staying friends on the truck, definitely. Well, the thing about it, after taking the disassessment, that's when we realized that we were very similar. But what we also found out is that I am part lion as well in that assessment, even though you're a lot of turtle. So I will move out more quicker than Robert will. And that has been a blessing. And sometimes that has gotten us in trouble, gotten me in trouble. So, in knowing that, now I know how he moves. Now I know to give him more information because, a lot of times it has been where I've said to him, or thinking to myself, well, why isn't he doing, why is he moving? Come on, Robert, come on, let's go, come on. But not realizing is that he needed more information. He needed time to be able to process the information that I've given him. So because of that, we've been able to balance each other on the truck, and I have, he probably would attest to it, but now I don't threaten him as much and say, if you don't act right, I'm going to put you on a catwalk, bungee cord you, and drive faster. So
no. What you do now? You threaten to put me on Craigslist now.
I love it. I love it. I love it. No, you said something that is so true, and I think that it's very true for you guys. And this is the one thing I want people who are listening to this to take away. It's important for y'all to walk. You use the word balance. I'm going to use the word in tandem. When you think about something working in tandem, it uses each other's energy. So in other words, if you think about a tandem bicycle, the tandem bicycle isn't necessarily balanced because there's two people. It's balanced because you have two people working.
Oh, okay.
That's what the tandem looks like. Does that make sense? And so
yeah.
When you have two people working toward the same goal, the same end game, I think it changes the game in terms of how you guys show up. So it's more than even in balance, because a balance kind of denotes that what she is, you're not, and what she is, she's not, vice versa. And then together, when y'all come, you're kind of almost a whole thing. And that's partly, I get that analogy, but I love the word, particularly when it comes to communicating, particularly when it comes to being friends. I think that the word tandem best describes what you should be striving for, because you guys are going in the same direction, quite literally. Like, you cannot be going on 95 North while she's going on 95 South. I'm sorry. And be going in the same direction. But I think that the differences and the beauty is when you recognize that that's important, when you recognize that that's a thing, when you recognize, okay, we're off. I don't even like to say that something's wrong, generally speaking, because it invites judgment. I like to kind of identify something's off, something's not right, something isn't in sync, something's not in tandem. And so when we talk about that, I just want people who are viewing this, if you are going to really nurture a friendship, you have to ask yourself the question. And again, we're talking these big SAT words, right? So we say tandem, and we don't even talk like that anymore, not in our society. But the truth of the matter is that there is this place of ease in relationships that I think that when you strive to work together, you get there quicker. And so I'll give you a quick example. My wife and I, we've built a business for the full time for the last 6 years. You guys are a part of our community. And one of the things that I realized was our superpowers were that we were self-aware. I need somebody to write that down. Like, if you're looking at this, if you're checking this video out, when it comes to building a friendship, you have to identify what your superpower is together, individually, and really, really work towards that. And so I really would just want to encourage everybody that when you identify, for instance, my superpower is showing up and being super extroverted. That is my superpower. I'm the face of the franchise. My name is the name that's on the company. People generally identify and find out about us through me. All of the marketing efforts generally are done with my mindset in mind, or with me moving in mind. My wife, however, is the absolute back end. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have a business from a structure standpoint, because she runs everything. The tandem is that we learned long time ago how to stay in our lanes.
That's it.
That's the thing that I think that if we can embrace it, and I'm sure y'all have been in this game relationally longer than we have. Like, is that like not a thing? Like, to be able to identify and then stay in your lane? Y'all talk to me. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah. Well, because when you stay in your lane, one of the things that you realize when you do that is that you're not in competition. I don't have to be in competition with her. See, me staying in my lane is knowing who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing, but that basically, and knowing always that I always have something to add. So when I'm doing a project or when I'm doing something, and when she's doing the project and she's doing something, I give her room, and she don't always give me mine. I'm just kidding. She gives me my room.
You treading the line, brother. You treading the line. You about to walk the plank.
That's okay. That's my, for me getting in trouble later, right? So I'm just I'm just saying that now. Well, anyway, when we so we learn how to understand each other's space. you know, and she gives me mine. I give her hers. And when she comes up with a issue or problem or whatever, she says, okay, Robert, this is what's going on. What you think? And then she give me time to sort it out and think about it. Then we come back to the table and we work this thing out. And what I'm realizing, Coach, is that everything that we doing, this is what made us successful, or making us successful in our day-to-day business operation. This is what sets the foundation of people who is coming in to work with us have to understand how we flow. And we got some VAs now that's just amazing how they just connect with us and how they just flow, because they understand how we work. They understand our temperament. And I realize
our vision as well.
Yeah, our vision. So, you know, it's just amazing. Go ahead, honey. I'm gonna stop talking right now. Let you go ahead, because the question was for the both.
Well, the thing about it, you're actually talking truck talk, because you mentioned about tandems. That's what's on our truck. You know, that's and like you said, that in order for us to get down the road, we actually have to, those tandems have to be moving in a rhythm. You know, it's been times that we've been out on the road where, you know, you hear this big pop and one of the tandems or one of the tires have blown. And that affects everything. That affects your fuel mileage and everything. So with that being said, you know, with us being on a truck and us being in a relationship, as long as we've been, you know, we have to learn how to operate in sync, you know, and when one of us is off, both of us is off. And it just, you know, it changes everything, you know. So you're going to say
that is powerful. No, that's powerful, Sharon. I want to jump in, and I hope people are really, really taking heed to this. You said when one thing is off, everything is off, or when one of us is not in rhythm, we don't get where we need to be. You said that when the things are not working together, it really takes away from the overall vision of getting to where you're going. It cuts your fuel mileage is affected. Everything is affected when y'all are not working together. What would you say would be some tips and strategies? I know for me, I can certainly run off a bunch. And I obviously, you know, knowing your temperament is certainly one of them. In terms of how long you guys have been doing what you've been doing for as long as you've been doing it, what would you say is the secret to being able to get in sync and to be able to get on the same page so that you can, you know, sort of stay in your own lane?
Well, for me, it's been communication. They say in real estate, location, location, location. In a relationship is communication, communication, communication. And that's one thing, you know, even if we have, you know, I'm having an off day or he's having an off day, like you said, we give each other space, you know, to be able to allow each other to process what we're going through. You know, since I've been with him for 30 years, over 30 years now, we know, you know, when something isn't right, you know, where, you know, on the truck, there's a particular tire that might be don't have as much air in it, you know, and I'm slowly watching the fuel mileage as we're going across country. Even in a relationship, I could tell when something's not right with him, and I'll ask him, you know, everything all right? You okay? And normally his first answer is, yeah, everything's fine, but I know something's going on, you know, so I'll give him time to process that. And maybe give him a moment to think, well, you know what, she's noticing that something's not right. Okay, what is going on with me, and vice versa? You know, so then that gives us a chance to assess, well, okay, what is going on with me? And then once we do that, then we can come back, as Robert said, to the table and say, you know what, I'm having an off day because this happened. You know, this shipper did this constantly did that, or you know, you were a little sharp with me today. And it's like, I didn't realize that. I do apologize. So that's, you know, just being able to communicate with one another.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, something I just want to add with that. You know, in the scriptures, it talks about having patience. Let patience have its perfect works. See, even when you communicate, you still got to have patience. And so you got to I want to say you have to understand the process of your patience. So and what I mean by that is that when you're going through something, you're going to have to be patient with that person to allow that person to be able to go through that, you know, or talk that out or work it out. However they need to work it out. You're going to have patience in order to do that. And in establishing the patience, you know, a little communication always help to establish the person. One of the things that I try to do, even when I'm going through something, whatever, I have to let her know that whatever the case is, you're not the culprit of it. Mm-hmm. You know, to get the anxiety off of her. I said, well, no, you're not the culprit of this. You know, so, or if she is a culprit of it, I said that it's something that happened that you did. I'm just not in agreement with right now. I got to work this thing out because I don't want to come at you a certain way. But all of that is going to require for you to operate in patience, you know, with each other. See, the communication promotes patience. That's what I want to say. Because the more you communicate, the more you're going to promote the patience that you need in order for you to work that thing out. And you truly need that in business.
You know, it's one of the things that's kind of really powerful about what you're saying. I see this in our business all the time with Sharia and I. When you're patient with the process, or as the scriptures say, you know, allow patience to have its perfect work in you. That idea of what a perfect work looks like, I would consider that word as just something that's harmonious, something that flows. It doesn't mean that things are going to be perfect in the sense that there's never going to be a mistake. But there's this ebb and flow that's really natural. And I just really want that for, you know, people who are in business, particularly spouses who are trying to figure this thing out and they're growing their business. This opportunity for me to come and show up and share with you guys has been amazing. And I just hope people take away that this isn't done overnight. It takes time to build that. That's, you know, when you mention the word patience, I think a synonymous word for me with that word is time. And I don't get to rush a process, but what I do is I get to show up and actively be a part of building it and forging it ahead. And so, no, I think it's absolutely possible to stay friends. And you guys say, you know, in the truck, for me, it's in business. For some, it may be, you know, in their family, it may be in whatever situation that they find themselves. But I think it takes intentionality. And I think that, quite frankly, if you're not willing to put in the work that it takes to be intentional and show up and nurture that friendship, then when you get in close quarters, some people found this out during COVID. You know, you just couldn't go anywhere depending on your lifestyle and what you did. I know for you guys in the trucking industry, y'all are like COVID. What y'all been on the road since day one, and you know, kudos to the entire industry for continuing to show up and, you know, do what you need to do in order for us to be able to even eat, move, sleep, do whatever, all the different things. But I will say that a lot of people were challenged because for the first time, they're finding themselves in the confined area of their homes, and they're not able to communicate and connect. So I would encourage everybody that if you want this idea of tandem working for you, rhythm working for you, being in sync, that takes work. It takes choreography. It takes putting together the plan and then running the play and executing. And that's what, you know, we see. My wife just recently wrote a book, How to Build a Marriage, and how to build a marriage and a business and not lose either one. And it was written from the standpoint of how we were able to first start out building our marriage. And then when we got into business, and quite frankly, Cherie and I, even when it wasn't formal business, we've always worked on things together. We met like that, working on projects. If it was a nonprofit venture, if it was something, found ourselves giving back or working in team environments. But because we worked on that process, by the time we actually launched an actual business, things have gone incredibly smooth. She actually let me retire her. She didn't want to come off her 9 to 5. She's like, I like it here. And quite frankly, I don't know if I want to work in the same office with you every day. I love you, but I don't know if I love you that much. And the truth of the matter is, and I'm being part facetious, part accurate. The truth is that that's something to consider. And I think that before you really jump out there and you continue to, if you have aspirations to own your own rig and be your own boss and all that sort of stuff, it comes at a price. But I'm going to promise you, you absolutely are going to need solid relationships to be able to help take you to the next level. And that starts with the ones that are on your direct team, whether that's your spouse, significant other, whether that's a family member, it may be your brother or your uncle or whomever. But the point is that communication starts inwardly. And if you build it right, I promise you it'll change the game. I appreciate the opportunity, guys.
Definitely. And that was going to lead into the question that I was going to ask, or should I say put out on the table, is that a lot of times we have run across couples out on the road where, a gentleman may come to, my husband and say, how do you get along with her on that truck? My spouse or my partner make me sick. I'm ready to throw him off the truck. So hopefully what we've said today have spoke to be able to communicate better. That's the key to it. I don't know if you wanted to add to that, Robert.
Yeah, it's going to be a key part to your success in anything that you do. Communications and patience. Those are the main factors that you need in order to be successful in anything that you do. Now, I know that, Coach, when you was talking about how you and your wife built this business, if y'all didn't have patience, that wouldn't be there. Because I'm gonna tell you, you can always communicate in the wrong way too. See, you can say the wrong things, you can communicate in the wrong, and it can cause you to lose patience with each other. You see? So first of all, I believe that you really need to have patience with yourself. You really need to be honest with yourself and be honest with the one that you're with, and and just learn how to convey that without putting them on the defense. So I love how you and your wife have just put the business, how y'all built it together, and I have nothing but a total respect for y'all too, because it showed me it doesn't matter what industry that you are in, the foundation is still the same. Mm-hmm. And that's powerful. The foundation is still the same. So I'm finished what I had to say.
Absolutely, I agree.
So I wanted to ask Coach Glenn. You have mentioned that Cherie has written her book, but I wanted you to let our audience know the name of your books, where they can get those books, because I've actually started reading Cherie's book, which is an awesome book that she has written to remind me of some things that I need to keep in check. So how can people find out about your books?
Well, the first thing is just simply, visit us at our website, glennpbrooksjr.com. It's real simple. It's right over my head. So glennpbrooksjr.com. Cherie and I together have written 9 books since 2011. All of these books really have something to do with relationships, whether personal, or professional. And I think it would be a tremendous value to you guys. I never set out to be an author, but I've always had stories to share. And I didn't realize that if I sat down long enough and put pen to paper, that I actually could get words out of my head and on paper, and pay some really good editors to put it together so it's readable. But the truth is that we're honored. It's been our pleasure to be able to show up and add value like this. But yeah, the book I just recently finished as well is how I, as a first-time entrepreneur, built a profitable business from scratch, and was able to do that. But again, it all boils, and I think rises and falls on relationships. And I'll be honest with you, I am the first person that will tell people you can't get to any place of significance by yourself. We all need some help. And I think that unfortunately, most people think for whatever reason that they can pull this stuff off by themselves. And I think, quite frankly, that's awfully short-sighted and, quite frankly, awfully audacious in the sense of a bad kind of pride that causes you to be out there. And then therefore you're not able to get the kind of help that you need. So I think that, that's what's absolutely needed. So yeah, again, go to www.glennpbrooksjr.com. You can find out all of the things that we're up to, the different communities that we run, both on a personal level and a professional level. And we're here to serve you if we can be of any assistance.
Well, Glenn, that's wonderful, and I am really excited for people who take heed to what we're saying, because we couldn't be where we are if we didn't experience some of the things that we have went through. So what we are talking through and from experience, and I tell you, when we connected with you and when you helped us, you literally took us to the next level. So, I'm hoping that when people hear this, they can connect with you, that you can help them move to the next level. So here it is again. It's about relationships. It's about communication. See, it's a relationship that we have established. No competition. We're here to help and to support one another. And this is how communities, this is how tribes have been built. This is where trust comes from. I love my coach, and we do. We love our coach, and we can't speak highly or say enough words, based on him, because it's like one of those gems, that you find in the raw, that you just hold precious, and he's just one of those gems to us. And Coach, we just appreciate everything you do and everything that you have done for us personally. And we truly thank you, even for the time that you have spent with us today. So I'm actually done. So, honey, if you have anything you have to say.
Okay. Well, thank you, Glenn, Coach Glenn, for being on today on Trucking and Business. And we thank you. And to the audience, be safe.
Appreciate it, guys. Y'all be good, and let's talk soon.